You must be careful about the words you use, or the words you allow to be used in your house. Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that.
It's time to talk about it.
Pull up a chair and take a seat.
We're serving up recipes for life.
With Hampton University's Dr. Richard Mason and Dr. Tamara Williams.
Welcome to the Sunday Brunch.
This is Dr. Tamara Williams.
And this is Dr. Richard Mason. And welcome back to the table for another edition of Sunday Brunch with the Good Doctors.
The good doctors.
Yes. And it's so good to be back in 2025. I'm not going to be like those folks that always talk about new year, new me, and they make it till the 5th of January.
You know how I feel about resolutions. I don't even make them. When it comes to making change, you need to make the change right then and right there, and not try to procrastinate and wait on doing things that are meaningful right now. And so I don't believe in like New Year's in that aspect. Like whatever needs to happen when it needs to happen. And I don't need to wait until December 31st or January 1st to do it. And nobody got time for that.
No, not at all. And typically when you're ready to make change, we know that it happens right then when you are actually ready. When you have to plan to make change, that's when we know you're really not ready. You're doing it out
You're just talking about it. You don't really want to be about it, though.
That's it. That's why I ain't made it to the gym yet, but I'm doing good. I drive past it.
See, listen, you just talk about it. You've been talking about it. You've been thinking about it. And that's the difference between, that's why, not to give them any free advertisement, but that was the genius of Nike. Just do it. Just do it. Like a lot of people spend a lot of time exhausting themselves and trying this, and trying that. A little bit of this, a little bit. It's time consuming to be all over the place. When you know what you need to do, just do it. And so you don't want to go to the gym. That's why you keep driving past it. Yeah.
Listen, but I changed my route, so now I do drive that way. You know what I'm saying? So one day I'm actually going to stop. Okay. So I'm getting there.
Before they put a stoplight there. That's
there you
right.
go. Baby steps.
Baby steps. But I appreciate your honesty. And I think that's what people need more of.
Oh, yeah.
You can fool everybody else, but don't fool yourself now.
Oh, yeah. Because, see, I'm not a morning person. Everybody I know wants to get up and, come on, work out. You can work out with us at 5 in the morning. It's like 5 in the morning. No.
You said not it.
I'm not even going to tell that lie. You know what I'm saying?
You won't even pretend.
Exactly.
Well, Happy New Year to you, bro.
Yes, same to
Happy
you, same
New Year
to
you. It's good to be at the table with you again. I've seen so many of our listeners in public, and they've all been talking about the shows they've been listening to and catching up with too. So it's good to be able to sit at the table again and dine with you. And we have a good guest today.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the conversation, but more importantly, I'm going to tell you right now, and this is no disrespect to our guest, because y'all going to see how dynamic and wonderful she is, but they just bought out a whole new pan of bacon over there, and it's looking good. I'm going to go on over there for a minute, all right?
Well, you already know.
I will be right back, and I got your biscuits and your honey butter to start out this new year.
Thank you for remembering. It's nice to go and sit at tables where people know your name and they already know what you need and want. I appreciate you remembering that. Appreciate that. While you go get that good stuff, I'm going to introduce our guest for today, who is going to also dine with us. I don't know if she likes bacon. Do you?
Love it. Thick cut. Yes.
See?
Okay,
exactly.
So we're going to go extra because we don't like to share.
Exactly.
I'm
going to bring
her
a whole
some
pan
bacon.
back.
Hey, we come
nice.
here often. Okay.
Share.
So he going to get you some. We will share with you.
We
will share with you. We will share with you as you begin to share with us today about your journey too. So at our table, anybody who doesn't know, let us say that we're always about education. We're always about knowing better and doing better. We're always about advocates for reading and writing. And so
Mm-hmm.
today we're going to have that good conversation with an African American, Black, beautiful Black sister who is not only in mental health and working in that capacity, but also is an author and has authored two great books that we're going to kind of discuss today how we got to that point. So I want to welcome to the table for the first time, and most certainly will not be the last time, author Tammy Rivers.
Good
Author
evening.
Tammy
Hello.
Rivers.
Thank you for
Well,
having
welcome
me.
to the table. Welcome to
Thank
the
you. I'm so
table.
excited to be here at the table in the bacon with the
All
bacon.
right.
Yes, indeed. You know, bacon does everybody's body
It
right as
does.
far
It
as
never
I'm
did me
concerned.
wrong. But thank you all for having me. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Glad to even be able to have a table where we can have conversations and dictate the type of conversations that we have. We're forced to read the books that other people write.
Mm-hmm.
Often we don't always get to tell our own stories or create our own narratives. And so here at the table, we enjoy talking to those who have taken that leap, creating their own stories and defining their own narratives.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. How did we get there, Tammy? So you obviously you went to school.
Yes, I received my social work degrees from Elizabeth City State University, but reading and writing has always been my passion. I tell people I'm a secret book nerd. I am the person that prefer a book over a Kindle. I've always been born with it, and I've denied that talent for so long that I can write. I just felt like it was something I liked to do, but I'm honestly a book nerd. All things words. And so I just finally started, decided.
What was one of your favorite? What was one of your favorite growing up? Then you said you were a book nerd. What could you be caught reading?
Of course, when you're in elementary school, the Judy Blume books. I read the Little Boxcar Children's series. You read that? And then as I got older, I fell in love with Terry McMillan, Omar Tyree. But one of my all-time favorite, and I forced my daughter to read this too. We was on vacation and I bought it and she was so mad with me. But Maya Angelou, I Know How the Cage Bird Sings. I can read that over and over again. Yes. So my genres, I'm all across the map when it comes down to reading.
That is all right.
But I love a good read. And I just finished reading Yellow Wife. I cannot recall her name.
I've heard about that.
But it's an awesome read. Awesome read.
Okay. And you like the actual hard copy of the book because you want to touch the pages.
I want to touch it, smell it. I want to be one with the book. It's nothing like a good book, a brand new book smell. I love the smell of Barnes and Nobles. People go for Starbucks. I go for the smell of the books. Honestly, it's a big difference. I really prefer it in my hand than a book.
I was talking to somebody else about that, and they were just talking about just the whole mindset of a real page turner. Just really sitting there reading the book, turning the pages of the book itself versus, flipping through it and scrolling up. So just hard to get the feel of reading when you're just scrolling, but a page turner is something.
It is, and I have both. I have an e-reader, but my preference is to have it in my hand. Like you said, get in the corners of the pages, come back to it.
Right.
Something that you want to make a note on, you're able to do it. Yeah. So I'm old school when it comes down to that.
Yeah. It reminded me of just being when I was growing up elementary school and you had to, read those little chapter books and things like that or whatever. You were given this bookmarker and you wanted to make sure your bookmarker was farther along than your classmates, and so that was always the thing. You had to see what everybody else's bookmarker was.
You've always been competitive.
Exactly. So I'm gonna see where your bookmark is, and I'm make sure I read a few more pages past that.
So you're looking at everybody's bookmarkers.
Exactly.
That wasn't even me. As soon as I got the book, I was done. I got in trouble because I stayed up all night to finish the book, and I wasn't going to stop reading until I was done. So I didn't need a bookmarker.
That's a good book. When it keeps you up all night long, that's a good book.
What? I was the why girl. I needed to know why, and I felt like the answer was in the book.
And you had to go get it. There you go.
All right. So tell us about this love of reading. Where did that come from? How did that develop in you?
This is going to be funny, but I've always loved to read. But what enhanced it was when growing up, my parents would give out what I call prison sentences. It was,
Mm-hmm.
okay, 2 weeks, you can't use your phone. You can't, well, we didn't have phones back then. You can't use the house phone. You can't go
Right.
outside. You can't do this. It was a whole list of can'ts. But my mom would always say, but I take you to the library.
Mm-hmm.
She would
Mm-hmm.
take me to the library. I would check out 4 or 5 books. I read them. I do my time.
Mm-hmm.
Then when, if I got in trouble again, I got another sentence. It was a
Mm-hmm.
whole list of can't, but she would always take me to the library. She kept me connected to the library.
Mm-hmm.
During the summers, I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I really started writing. Like right now in their storage, they have small little stories that I've written when I was in elementary school, junior high, and high school, but I've never did anything with it. So I've always had a love for words
Okay,
and
that's
creative.
awesome.
Yes, but those punishments, prison sentences increased my love for reading and writing.
She might have messed around and encouraged you to be bad.
But mine,
If I cut up, Mama gonna take me to the library, and
the
I won't have to deal
library.
with nobody.
That was the only place I could go if I was on punishment, was to the library.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
only place.
Okay. Okay. So now, how does that tie in, or does it tie in at all with your social work degree and your background? You said you got a degree in social work from Elizabeth City, so we're gonna shout out, go Vikings. We have to give
Oh, Vikings. Yes, yes. Shout us
HBCU some
out.
shout out. Exactly, exactly. So, and does that tie in at all?
Now, my major was originally English,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt like I ran away from social work.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a caring and a compassion heart. But I
Okay.
went in thinking, well, okay, no, I can do English with a concentration in news media. But as I start matriculating, this wasn't it. So social work is near and dear to my heart. So I
Mm-hmm.
went with my heart on that, but I always could still have this as my hobby and make it happen for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, you are you able to tie in, bibliotherapy, things like that? How do you tie in any of that in with what you do in terms of, social work?
Now, with some of the characters that I wrote about, it's based off 4 women. One of the women went to therapy, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
holistic therapy.
Okay.
I wrote about that in that book in detail because there's a difference between holistic and regular therapy. So I did put that in the first book.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So let's back up. Tell people the name of the book.
Oh, yes, we all over the place. Didn't even do that. That's first. It's the
That's
two
what
book.
happens when you start eating all that bacon first. You just
Yes,
You
get
know what I'm
sad.
saying?
it's a 2 book series. The first book is called Second Friday, Sip and Pain, and the sequel is Nights Like This I Wish.
Okay. So you said Second Friday.
Yes, Second Fridays, Sip
Mm-hmm.
and Pain.
Okay.
Not
Sipping
paint,
pain.
pain.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So tell us a little bit about the first book. I know you
Okay.
said it's a 2-part series, but tell
Yes.
us a little bit about the first one first.
The first book is following 4 friends as they maneuver through life. Every second Friday, they come together, sort of how we used to meet at Applebee's back in the day. They
Yes, we did.
they come together, just to relax and unwind with each other. And that was, their thing. Then all of a sudden, things start happening for each. One is dealing with infidelities, infertility, cheating, the dynamics between husband and wife, who's the breadwinner. So they each start dealing with their own thing and how they overcome it together.
Okay.
And then the
Okay.
second book,
Sisterhood.
yes, exactly, sisterhood. In the second book, Nights Like This I Wish, I pulled out the 2 main characters from the first book and followed their story. They were the ones who dealt with the most. They dealt with infertility, infidelity, loss of self-esteem. Because as a
Mm-hmm.
woman, it's major. We go through so many changes, and people really don't talk about that a lot. Once you have a kid, or the lack of, in her instance, couldn't not being able to have a child was devastating for her. So I followed those 2 in the second book, and I ended their story there.
Okay. Okay. So these are probably women or characters that everyday women can relate to.
Absolutely, and that's something that I do purposely because I don't want anyone to read anything and say, "Well, oh, this seems impossible." I like to
That
read.
didn't make sense.
Yes, that
Right.
makes sense. I like to read things that are realistic or something that someone could take away from and say, "Okay, well, this helped me," or
Mm-hmm.
this may help someone else. And then what I did do is, I've been married before. I'm divorced, but some of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I experienced in that marriage, I put into one of the characters.
Okay.
Well, you was real brave.
Yes. Yes. I put
Now,
some of the things that I experienced into one of the characters.
okay. So now you're supposed to change the name and
I
She
did.
did, I'm sure.
okay. All right. All right. Okay. I don't want somebody calling us and saying, "Now look here."
Look, he could call if he
None of
wants
that.
to.
Nobody
You
will
know.
be able to read it and know, but I just felt that that was important because I've been through a lot. And my
Mm-hmm.
thing is, each one teach one. If anything that I've gone through that another lady
Mm-hmm.
could benefit from or learn from or realize, no, I'm not going down that route, then that's a win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That in itself is powerful.
Mhm.
The transparency and you as an author saying that you put a little bit of yourself in there.
I
A lot of
do.
times when people author books, they put other people's stuff in there,
Mhm.
things
Mm-hmm.
that they witnessed, because to be able to be that open
Mhm.
and
I
share a
did.
Mm-hmm.
bit of yourself is a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that. It was a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I did. I put a lot in there. So you may be able to read, you may be able to look at it and be like, oh, I remember this.
I promise I won't say a word. I'm good at holding secrets. That's what we're good at this table. We discuss some things, but look, I wasn't going to tell anybody that we used to meet at Applebee's. You put it out there.
I did. Retract that.
Look, I was going to pretend, no. For sure. I mean, that's the good thing about sisterhood and sister friends is understanding that it's not where you are at that moment, is
Mm-hmm.
where that you are actually propelling yourself to be. And, it was a situation, but I believe it made you stronger.
Did,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
I
I will go through
believe
it
that.
again. Mhm.
You say what?
I will go through it again. I got my daughter from that situation.
Woo,
Mm-hmm.
you flatlined me at the table. You
Because
said,
get up, sister, don't fall, don't fall.
Mm-hmm.
woo,
Some,
fix it,
when you go through
Jesus.
some stuff, you say, "No, I thank God for the lesson, but I don't want to go through it no more."
I thank God for the delivery of everything I went through. I got it the first time, Jesus.
Right.
I don't want
No,
no
no, wait a
repeat.
minute now. I'm not saying I go through it again in another situation with somebody else. That's not what I'm saying. What
Oh.
I'm saying is, from that situation, I got my daughter.
Yes,
Oh,
you
okay.
did.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
okay,
That's what
so
I'm saying.
that clarity
Yes.
and that,
Yes.
Okay.
to
Right.
have her as a part of your life, you would go through all of that
Yes.
again.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarity, because
Yes.
that
Yes.
that
Yeah.
made it all clear.
Yeah, I don't
Because
need the
let
Yeah.
me
apple to hit
tell
me in the
you,
head twice.
Right. I said, but that
outside
sounds like
of
some
my good
therapeutic kind of
niece,
stuff.
okay,
we need some therapy at the table.
At the table.
we gonna end
Usually,
the show right now.
we just eat and talk, but sometimes we have to shut it down, clear the room,
Like we got a
clear,
real right here,
Right, right,
clear
right.
the room. Everybody got to get out the restaurant.
Everybody out. Cut, and cut. Yeah, because one thing we don't do at this table is masochism.
Right.
We're not for you. When we know better, we believe in doing better.
And
We
doing
don't
that.
want to
better,
repeat the
absolutely.
same things
Yes,
over
I'm
and
not
over again.
saying I want the apple to hit me in the head again. No.
Listen, we fast learners at this table. We got you the first time you drove up, and we
That's
saw you
right.
before you arrived.
but let me ask you this though, because
Yeah.
with you putting some of your own stuff in there,
Uh-huh.
how therapeutic and how cleansing was that? Because I know from a therapeutic perspective, I talk with clients, we journal and do things and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that or whatever. How therapeutic was that for you?
It was. Let me tell you this. Those two books are not the first books that I've written.
Okay.
After my divorce, I wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
And it was spot on everything I went through. Only three
Okay.
people read it. My mom, my sister, my best friend.
Okay.
That was the therapy that I needed. Writing
Okay.
that book. But I would never publish that because I didn't want to publish it and my daughter get it.
Okay.
Amen.
So yeah, that was the therapy. My first
Okay.
book was complete therapy. I was able to get everything out of me and put it into those characters, into that situation.
And you let your mama read it.
She read except the ending. They didn't read
Okay.
the ending. But yeah, my mom did read it. Mhm.
Mm.
My
That's
sister
all right.
and my best friend read it. And those are the only three people that ever read it. I still have it. It's on hard drive. I never released it, but that was
Mhm.
my therapy.
Mhm.
Hmm. Now, how did you choose those two people to read that? Because I'm gonna go somewhere with this, but I want to hear where you starting from.
Of course, my best friend.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then my mom, she's always pushed me to write and do something with it. And so my sister is my sister. So the three people closest to me in life.
Okay. All right.
The
And
ones
I'm sure
that they experienced a lot of that with you
Yes.
too.
Uh-huh.
that's what I was about to say. They
Yeah.
probably were along for the journey
Hmm.
with that. Okay. Because sometimes, that's one of the things we talk about in therapy, whereas people, you have a therapist, you have your pastor, you have your good friend, but it's a matter of how you manage that walk, and the people that actually go along with you on that journey and
Hmm.
how they help you through that process, not necessarily on on a tour of we're gonna bash the other person in your life that you're divorcing or anything like that,
Hmm.
but we're gonna help you heal, you
Hmm.
know and that's a big part of the process. And the writing of everything, now the getting it out, a lot of times people, they suffer in silence and even suffer out loud because they don't get the story out. They go through things, but they're not telling that story. They're not able to get it out, and writing that book probably gave you that outlet that you need, and allowing them to read it. It's like someone hears me. Someone is actually able to understand, or hear what I went through. May not necessarily understand what I went through, but they heard my story.
Now that was I had to be vulnerable for that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because you come from that old adage, what happens in your marriage stays in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
I announced it to people from my mouth to their ears that I'm filing for divorce, no one understood why, because no one knew anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never
Mm-hmm.
told anything. I never said
Mm-hmm.
anything. So then when I started writing that book, and then it was like, okay, here. By that time, those three people knew some of it and what was
Mm-hmm.
going on. So it wasn't too much of a secret to them. But to let someone else see it would have floored them because they didn't know. They were shocked when I made the announcement. Yeah, I'm filing for divorce.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
I
especially if they
only
never
had bits and
you never let
pieces.
on.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I only had bits and pieces of that aspect. You
Yeah,
always have those people that you share parts with,
yeah.
and the bits that I had were flooring bits.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
So I know, I know that the book would have left me straight breathless. And I have been a psychologist in a prison. I have seen and been around so many, many mighty things, but it's different when it's people that are in your circle
In your
that you
circle.
care about
Mhm.
and that you experience. And a lot of people don't know that what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand those aspects.
Mm-hmm.
That everybody who appears to be smiling is not actually truly smiling
True.
and
Mm-hmm.
wearing a
Mm-hmm.
mask and doing the very best they can.
Absolutely.
Very best they can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're good at masking those things, especially when children are involved and stuff
Yes.
like that, the people who come and sit on my couch, that's one of the things we talk about. We look at the challenges of keeping it together and trying to hold it together, not just for the sake of keeping the marriage together, but because of family ties. Sometimes it's business ties. Sometimes you're dealing with children and things of that nature. And then, of course, sometimes people get caught up in who's going to get the friends, and also
Yeah.
it's a lot of things that play into um, putting up appearances and keeping up with the Joneses, and so um, you just have to work at it and either build it to make it work, or how do we build this thing so that at least if we're going to separate and divorce, we have a plan, we have a strategy, we have an exit map and a roadmap to do this thing.
Yeah, it's challenging. And piggybacking off what you said, as far as who's going to get the friends. You think about the children. For me, the hardest part was I knew that I had got to the point that I realized if I stay here, she would know what dysfunction looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I
Mm-hmm.
want her to know is what love and self-respect looks like, even if she has to see me by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Where I felt kind of like a failure and I had to get over it was I come from a two-parent home.
Mm-hmm.
My parents been together since they were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
And they're still
They're
together
still
and they
together.
still look cute.
And it still look cute.
And they still
Yes.
together. So for
They
me, that was
still
the
look cute.
hardest thing. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Teo. That was
Mm-hmm.
the hardest thing was I can't give her what I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they kept me in it maybe a year or two too long.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I'm like, I tried everything I could. I'm happy. I'm convinced that I did my part. But yes, a lot of factors goes into it when making a decision. It does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It truly does. But that was
Right.
my biggest thing, is that I was failing my child, not giving her what I had. But she's 22, flourishing. She's a senior at UNC Charlotte. She's an honor student. She didn't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
She's beautiful.
Thank
She is
you.
beautiful, and she's smart, and she's compassionate,
Mhm.
and she's considerate of a lot of people's feelings. And one thing for sure is that she loves you. Like it, and it's evident that she picked up that part of paying attention and tapping it and letting you know that you are special. Like she has a beautiful spirit. You know, sometimes when people have children and they go through divorce, they go through some things and the children suffer, and you can see it in their behaviors, and you can see it how it can sometimes keep them from being their best selves when their parents are not their best selves. But no, not at all. She is the most I'm biased now, I'm gonna tell you, but she's the most mannerable little person to have been through some things. You know, like she didn't just kind of like survive them. She really thrived through those things, and
that was important to me.
Yeah, she and let me tell you, kudos to you, Tammy, because she looked just like her daddy.
She does.
So let me.
Hold on, before you go there, now we're not gonna bash the daddy.
I'm not bashing daddy. I'm not bashing daddy. This is not a show to bash the daddy, but this is the reality that a lot of women don't understand. You know, when you're struggling to do right by people, I want to mention that, you know, sometimes those people that you're struggling to do right by may have some personality characteristics, may even look like the people that you have a problem with, but your love can transcend that. You can
absolutely
transcend that, and she is very well developed and well loved.
Thank you, love. Thank you.
That's all I have to say about that. And she has that experience with her grandparents. She can see. So even though you feel like you may have robbed her of what you, same time you haven't, because she has a really close relationship with your parents, and she's been able to see that consistency.
She's Papa's baby.
And that's good. And you know, we talk. You know, I said when couples come in, that's one of the things we talk about, just in terms of, you know, surviving in a marriage. It really has to be a place where at least one person is trying. You know, divorce typically happens when both people are at their wits' end. You know, that typically is what happened. You know, at some point, I would say most people go through a marriage where they say, I'm out, you know, I'm tired of this, you know, I'm sick of this person, I am sick of this person, you know. But the other person's like, no, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna do whatever we're gonna do to make it work. And you know, and it's never two at the same time. You know, when both people finally at the same time and they sick of each other at the same time, that's typically when, you know, the whole process with divorce happens, you know, at that point. You know, the running joke in our house, I always tell my wife, you mad at me? Don't worry about it. We're going to start over tomorrow, you know.
You laughing, but my son ain't laughing. Look. And look, so yes, Tammy is also a Delta, so she's not really laughing because his wife is one of our sorors. We ain't playing that.
Oh yeah, so y'all know.
But she can handle her own for sure. Yes, girl. Our running joke used to be, if it's not worth getting a divorce over, you get over it.
Right.
Like if it's not worth ending, then you get over it. That used to be our joke.
Yeah.
I don't think that's funny no more 19 years in.
What you say after 19 years?
19 years in.
It's not funny anymore.
What you say is lost its humor.
Well, I would say in a few months it'll be 30 years for us. You know.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, it'll be 30 years, you know, and it takes work, and that's what I tell people, because they always look. It was like, y'all look so happy. I was like, I don't like her every day. She don't like me every day, you know.
And it's okay.
Exactly.
You love her all the time, though. It's okay.
Yeah, I said, but you don't disrespect her. You know, I said that's the thing. I said we don't disrespect one another. We don't call each other out our name. We certainly don't put our hands on one another. You know,
never.
And that's it. Otherwise, you go to bed. I wake up in the morning. You know, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, as they say. You know,
we'll try this thing again.
Yeah,
we'll try this thing again.
You know.
That's the reality of it.
But sometimes you, like you said, there are times when together is more damage,
It is.
way more
Mm-hmm.
damage than apart. And so,
It is.
you know, I think that what I'm thankful for is that you had your ability to write. And then not only that, you had a good circle of people, to vent and who could help you and support you through that situation. And moreover, you had the wisdom and the wherewithal not to put everything in the book. You know, and that is what I'm the most thankful for. A lot of times people think that just because it come up, it should come out. Like there's still a level of boundaries because the love that you have for your daughter, the respect that you have for her, and the respect that you have for yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. And then, you know, too, it's one of those things. I'm not going to bash this person because I did choose that person. So, you know, it's no need. What am I getting out of that? So, no, I didn't. You know, something left undone. So that's my first book would never be published. That was therapy for me. It's the purpose. It will forever stay on my little jump drive in my cabinet.
Don't tell nobody where that is, girl.
Let me know and burn it when I get off.
Listen, you ain't got to burn it, but I'm gonna need you to move it.
Look, passcode. Put passcode protect. You got to know the code to get it.
Okay, yeah. Don't tell nobody where to find your life at, girl.
Right.
Exactly.
Passcode, and make sure that passcode got 15 letters, 2 characters, a capital letter.
Okay. Listen, it's got to answer a question that only you know. That's what that code is. Yes, indeed. You know, because everything is not for everybody. And we're advocates on this show for therapy. We're advocates of finding healthy avenues to express yourself. And so we love the fact that you shared that was a healthy avenue for you. That's one that both of us would strongly encourage people. The writing is a good thing. It's not what you write, it's also what you do with it. So that's why I make that joke. But in all jest, you know, we have to, you know, be cautious of what we do with the things that we create. Because those things do have consequences. Just because it's your story doesn't mean it doesn't have consequences.
Right. And even when I'm gone, it's still here.
That part. And, you know, and then also everybody, when they read things, they don't always get the same understanding.
Right.
That's the problem with how we even communicate. You know, that's why people have tours to meet with the authors. And then like the art that you see around rooms, people want to meet with the artists to figure out what were they thinking when they created the art. People have their own perceptions of what it may be, but that's not necessarily true. So that's the other responsibility about the things that we create. You know, we don't know how it'll be received or interpreted.
Right, exactly. And that's a part about when you decide to put your truth on. I was talking with another couple several years ago, and they were actually talking about, you know, their journey, and they actually came through some things. They had several things that they had to overcome and deal with, you know, and they thought, you know, how can we deal with this so that others can benefit from where we've come from, you know, because they were on the verge of divorce, you know, and they sat on this couch and really worked through some of the hard things and all or whatever. And the thing is, you have to just make sure that everybody may not understand your truth. And even as you tell your truth, where they are in their situation or in that moment in time for them, they may not pick up on what kept you there. They may not pick up on what caused you to truly leave and say, I have to have this line in the sand, you know? So it's really, you know, a double-edged sword when you're talking about putting your story out there, you know? A good friend of mine always say, hey, tell the truth, but don't necessarily go to confessional because you don't know how people are going to take that, you know?
I like that. I'm going to have to steal that.
That's a good one.
I like that. Let me make that way. Repeat that down. Hold on.
Tell the truth.
So you want to slide my baby out the way and write it down.
That's right.
But I like that. That is true.
Because everybody may not really understand, you know, what your situation is. Your testimony is your testimony. And if people benefit from it, you know, that's why I always tell folks, that's why sometimes it's more important that you get the story out. That's the catharsis part for you as a person who's been through that situation, you know, to get it out more so. And if it benefits someone else, that's the blessing. Absolutely. You know, that's true. That's truly the blessing. You know, with all.
So you were able to share a watered down version through a fictional character which
Yeah.
created like a barrier as to, you know, because you can say this character is a mixture of many different characters. So, you know, there's aspects that were falsified, you know, because it is not accurate, because this is a fictional character. But she has some truth aspects in it. So some of the ways in which you were able to grieve that relationship and move forward and start with new relationships and new things and a new normal, create these different things. I'm sure this character was able, even what you said in the second book, to then start this new journey of this new normal for herself.
You know, I wanted people to take things that I've gone through, things that other people have experienced, and learn from it. And nothing made me feel good like, okay, when I have book club discussions, and it's always one lady that's going to pull me to the side and say, you know, I've been there. You know, when I first released it, I've had plenty of ladies that inbox me, you know, I've been there. Oh, I'm going through that now. This helped me with, you know, my decision. Or, you know, I don't feel alone. To me, I feel like I've done my part. I've done my
Yes, even with the infertility part.
Yes,
I can
I've done
relate
my
to
part.
that. I can relate to that. And a lot of people don't get to have those type of conversations. And so I'm sure you have a lot of women. It's more common, you know, to come up to you and say, hey, I've experienced that. Yeah.
And I last year met a lady at a book club discussion. Her marriage ended because of that infertility. So she said, you know, she said when I got to that part and what she was struggling with, she said I really had to close the book and go to sleep for the night. Yeah, she said, but the next morning I got up and went with it. She said I like how she managed that. Yeah. So that I feel like if I write something and someone could either take from it, learn from it, or help them through their process, my job is done.
Exactly. And you're giving people encouragement to have a voice.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
and that's what, I mean, that's really a lot of times what therapy is all about, you know.
That's
really
what it's all about.
empowering people and encouraging people to have a voice to tell their story and to be able to walk in their truth, you know, and own it. You know, this is it. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is my truth. This is me. This is what I've been through. This is what I'm going through. And this is how I'm going to manage my way in this situation and in this season. So that is awesome.
And to know that they can, you know, and that's what I like, is that people get options. It's like we say all the time, it's not our feelings that get us in trouble, is what we do with them. And so giving people an option to see another positive way to deal with their feelings. If you were surrounded by negative people all the time, that may be your natural default setting. But that's the thing I love about books. You can go anywhere in a book. You can go and you can stay as long as you want to, and you can revisit and you can go back there as often as you would like to go back there, as long as you have the imagination to travel with those words. So I love it. I'm all for it. You got to tell people how they can actually get your books, and tell us the names again of your books.
The first one is Second Fridays, Sipping Pain, and the sequel is Nights Like This, I Wish. And they're both sold on my website at www.authortammy, with an I-E, Tammie, rivers.com. So that's www.authortammyrivers.com. They're both on my website, along with merchandise as well.
Yes, indeed. So why now stop at 2? Because 3 is my favorite number. I want you to go beyond 3 too, but
so why stop at 2?
2, right. So is there another series coming? What's happening?
No, that series is done. I'm working on my 3rd book now, but I felt that everything that I needed to get out about the characters was complete in a 2-book series. A lot of people are asking for it. You know, I feel like you could have pushed it and made a 3rd one. I need to know what happened to this person. I just stopped it at 2. I felt that was enough. You know, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Then I end up with a 24 series book.
Yes, indeed. Right. Where you'll always be these characters.
Yes.
Like, okay.
So yeah.
That's
I like to what you talked about sharing. Since we were talking about how you were loving books and like your page turner. What I like too, Tammy, is that you share the books. Like, you know, some people collect all the books on their shelves, but she would read the books a couple times, and then she would pass the books on for other people to read.
Yeah.
Other people to read. Before there were even Kindles and all those things.
Because if you got a good read, it's like, oh my God, I read this. I know she'll love this. You want to share it. It's like good food. It's like good bacon. I want somebody to try this out.
She used to pass me bags
Yes, I
and
want her to try
bags,
this out. She will love
bags,
it.
bags of
Uh-huh.
books. And I was like, oh my goodness, I hadn't read this author.
Yeah.
Or and they would be whole series. Like you would that's why I was trying to figure out after you have passed me all these series of books over the years, how you were stopping at 2. I knew 2 could not be that stopping point. Okay.
No. I'm still working on my third one now. Mhm.
Okay. Well, you want to give us a little, what's the third one about? You want to give us a little sneak
I'll
peek?
give you a little taste. The third
All
one
right.
is black and white, no gray area.
Okay.
It's following a female who's black, a male, of course, he's white. She is pro-black. She's rooting for everything black, even black cats. And even black cats. And it's not your typical interracial relationship book because she feels as if she was built and made for a black man. But she hadn't found anyone to check off her boxes. And just so happens she meet him. And now we as black people sometimes, I don't think we do not have the economic means to be prejudiced or racist, but we can be biased. We don't own the world as our counterparts do, but he helped her break down her walls and see her biasness and help her see that she was being prejudiced toward him. And so
she didn't want to date him because she thought she was built for a black man.
Yeah, but he checked off everything in her box. Everything he checked off. Other than that. And he put a mirror in front of her face and said, listen, you're concerned about people, treating you differently, but look how you're treating me. So that's just a little bit of what's going on in there. But it's
that's a whole lot going on right there.
Yes, it is. It is. And I felt that the climate we were in now, present day, that was something that was needed right now to pull off because people still have an issue with interracial dating. And I think sometimes we can have tendencies where we're looking at other people differently. But he's gonna pull all the layers back on her like an onion in order for her to realize it's okay. Love is love.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the question because that's just what I do.
Yeah.
These other 2 books have something to do with you. Does this book have something to do with you?
No, it does not.
Okay, all right. I can sleep a little differently tonight. Thank you so much. Because in my mind, I was like, as soon as we
see her face,
say cut, as soon as we say cut, we need to catch up a little further than Sunday brunch. We're gonna need Monday, we're gonna need Tuesday, we might need to Friday of next week to have this conversation because I was not prepared. My face betrayed me because I was like, before we go any further, I just need to know before I can hoorah you on this topic. And I do think it's very relevant. I think that even with a lot of dating shows and things that are happening, with the ratios out there, that African American women seem to be the ones that are desired the least in some ways, but we're starting to see that they're starting to date outside of our race at this point in time. And so I think I'm looking forward to reading the book. I just needed clarification.
I clarify.
Yeah. But a part of it, I know you're dealing with race in that book, though, but that still brings up another issue when you're still talking about marriage and dating and stuff like that or whatever, is how do you balance the differences? I always tell folks, I put up with my wife for years. She's a Dallas Cowboys fan, and God is going to give me a crown in glory for that. You understand?
She put up with you.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? But I said, I can roll with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that was one of the things I had to take to the altar. I was like, Lord, you got jokes. Exactly. You got jokes. A Dallas Cowboys fan. Lord Jesus. No, anybody. You know what I'm saying?
I'm married to one, too. I understand.
Yeah, Dre love his Cowboys.
I'm married to one, too.
Said anything but we done made it work. You know what I'm saying? So we about to roll into
What are you?
Year 30. I'm a Redskins fan, but you know what I'm saying? But we're the Commanders now, So everybody talking, say what you want to say, but guess what? We after 19 years, you know what I'm saying? It's our time. It's our time. We deserve
You
this. We've
have
earned
waited.
this.
You have been faithful.
Woo,
You have been faithful.
woo.
Yeah, I'm not a football fan, but I'm like, of all names, why did they come up with Commander?
Listen, I have no idea. You hear what I say? I have no idea
Commander.
but we took it. We've taken the jokes, we've taken the laughter, and now we have taken command. You understand what I'm saying? All right.
I hope it works out for you, bro. I don't have a dog in this fight at
Look,
all.
neither do
I
I.
am not, one of those. I like a good competition when it comes to a good game. So that's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to blow out. I like to see a good game. That's all I could ever really hope for.
Most
I don't
definitely.
really get into it. When my anxiety goes up, it's over other types of things. It's not games.
Like, who didn't buy the bacon at the store?
Okay, like listen, this has to be accomplished. This needs to be done. Who's going to handle this? I'm thinking about other stuff. That's going to put my heartbeat up. Not about who crossed the line or what's the score, because I'm not getting paid off for any of that. My bottom line is what will raise my heartbeat.
Exactly. So Tammy, something we always talk about, and when we have folks on the show, just asking people what to leave, a nugget or something, if you had to share some information on how to turn your trials into triumphs or something like that or whatever, basically, because that's what it sounds like you've been able to do with your situation. You've been able to come out on the other side, which probably at that, when you were dealing with going through it wasn't as easy, but you've come out on the other side and you're probably still coming out of some things. You know what I mean?
I'm out. I'm out.
All right. She said, I'm out. No, she said,
Delivered. She
out.
said, I've already written the second book. There's not a third one to this series.
I'm out.
The horse has already been beat.
If y'all can see in her face, she said, oh no, I'm done.
Oh no, I'm out.
If through was a person, it would have been Tammy at that moment in time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We have crossed the river. Tammy has crossed the river.
Oh yeah, she been out.
A lot of people looking at us like, yeah, she through.
Done like this bacon, baby. Done. Done indeed. What we do have a few minutes left, but do share something then about, Tammy, people who would like to become authors. Like, how then you had a story, but it's a published book. You're traveling around, you're on tour with your book. So do share maybe about that aspect. How did that come about?
Mm-hmm. Yes. How would somebody really do what you did? Just to be able to, you use your pain and to come out on, because that whole sipping pain, that was that, when you said that, I had to make sure I heard that the first time. I was like, okay, Second Friday sipping pain. Oh,
my sister name. She gave me that title. Because she read it as I was going along. She said, well, they're meeting every second Friday.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hot events now is people go and sip and paint.
Mm-hmm.
She said, what about sip and pain? Because as they're meeting, their lives are interrupted. And this is what's going on. I'm like, baby girl, you got something there. But yes, my sister named that for me.
Okay, all right. So what advice would you give someone who wants to, use their situation to write about it or use it as a process for them like that?
Just do it. I tell people, when I have book club discussions and at book club meetings, I tell people just do it. Don't be a Tammy and do it in your 40s. Start now. Go ahead and put it in writing. Work your way through it. Just do it. A lot of times we get in our own way. We really do get in our own way. And with me, I'm still my worst enemy. I am. I'm the worst critic. So I had to get outside of that. It's me versus me. Just do it. Just go ahead and do it. Put the pen to paper and do it. And don't rely on anyone else, because it's a lot of gatekeepers. As I was on my journey, you asked a question. Oh well, I can't tell you that. I'm like, why? Then I realized Google is free.
Google is free.
Google is free. And so I just started doing my research and putting it together and made it myself. But the biggest thing is get out of your way and just do it. The resources out there. What I do also offer on my website is I offer new author consultations, and they're free. Because my thing is each one teach one. I know how to get an
Mm-hmm.
ISBN. I know how to engage with brokers. If someone needs the information, I got it. Call me. I can give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yes, each one teach one. Just get out of your way and do it.
Okay.
That's some great, great, great advice.
Mm-hmm.
And representing the fact that yes, there are going to be naysayers. Yes, there are going to be people who are trying to trip you up, but
Absolutely.
that's not your responsibility. Your
Absolutely.
responsibility is to get it done and
Yes.
to do it. And then when people try to hold the information, you said go read about it, go research, go find it
It's
for
free.
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Google is
Mm-hmm.
free. And
Reading
again,
is fundamental.
and I do
Mm-hmm.
believe in helping others,
Mm-hmm.
especially
Mm-hmm.
self-published authors. And
Mm-hmm.
again, my website is you can schedule a free consultation because it costs me nothing to share my information with you.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. And so you self-publish.
I did
Okay.
everything myself.
Okay. All right. I know that's something that people have talked about before, just in terms of finding a publishing company to, most people think it's the getting someone to buy your story, buy your idea, give you a contract, but self-publishing has really become a thing now, and people are able to
Yeah.
really get out a number of different stories, whether it's a small book, a fiction book, or whatever. Self-publishing is certainly really has created a pathway for new authors.
To be seen and to be heard. Because if
Mm-hmm.
not, otherwise they would have never got their book in black
Mm-hmm.
and white.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to advocate the part of you are a good writer because you read a lot.
Yes.
Everybody may not be able to publish as easily because they may not have the same writing structure. You went to school, even though you graduated in social work, your major was English.
It was.
So let's not sleep on what was your natural gift, the parts that you develop over time. And so even though it's something you enjoy, people need to understand the work that comes to that. Some of it is what you've naturally been able to hone over the years of writing. You've been writing stories for a long time. These are the two you decided to publish so far.
Yes, absolutely.
So, let people, it's a process. A lot of times
It
people
is.
think that you start here and you're going to start at A and be at Z tomorrow.
No.
That's not always it. The race has not always been given to the swift. You had to go through some things, live through some things, experience some things, write and rewrite some things.
And rewrite and
And
rewrite.
rewrite some
And
things.
rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of people that I want to write, but they don't have a purpose or a vision. It's like a new pair of shoes where everybody's doing it. I want to do it. Then you have those that I'm into writing and this is what I want to do. But either way, if it's for you, it'll all come through fruition and you just don't give up.
Don't give up.
I like that.
Yes, indeed.
I like that. I like that.
That says right with me, just like this food.
Listen, right. That whole hopeful thing, just building hope.
It's gonna come together. Because it's a lot of nights that I wanted to give up. But the thing is, I know I'm towards the end, but I want to say this. I told my daughter that I was writing a book. And, I would lock myself in the room and I would write. And then if she didn't see me writing or behind my computer for a long time, she would ask me. It was so many times I wanted to give up. I'm like, it's not going to happen. I'll never do it. And she would say, well, Mommy, you haven't wrote in a while. But because I told her I was writing this book, I knew I had to finish it. I knew I had to finish it because I never wanted her to look at me and say, well, you started this, but you didn't do it.
Right.
You started it, but you didn't do it. But because I put it in her ears, she held me to it. I knew I had to finish it. So that was motivation for me.
She's your accountability partner.
Yes, and to this day she is.
Yes, indeed. She's like, Mom, I see you.
Yeah, she said, I haven't seen you writing in a while, Mommy. When are you going to finish writing?
So I know who I need to talk to when I'm ready for a new book from you.
Girl, she
Thank you so much. I'm gonna be
together.
like, come in, Mr. Rizzo.
She would get me all the way together.
Yes. Tell her I said happy belated birthday.
I sure will. I most definitely will. She knows I'm here tonight, and I told her what I was doing. She said, well, call me when you get off. I said, okay.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We definitely thank you so much for taking your time to be with us at Sunday brunch table, to dine and help us eat this bacon today. We appreciate your concern, giving us some good stuff.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's always good to get, have some good people at the table, but certainly some encouragement as well. So thank you for sharing your journey with us, and certainly look forward to some more things to come from you. All right.
Okay,
Well,
thank you all for having me. I
all
really
right.
appreciate it. Thank you, Tim, doctors, and thank you for the bacon.
No doubt.
All right. Well, I am Dr. Richard Mason.
I'm Dr. Tamara Williams.
And thank you for joining us right here on WHOV Smooth 88.1.
The essence of HU.
Keep your fork.
Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they are things. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your rugs, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally into you.
Thank you for joining us at the table.
Tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. for more delicious topical recipes for life on the Sunday Brunch.
On Smooth 88.1 WHOV.